Yo, what up? Welcome back to another episode of the D Will Show. I am your host, D Will, and this is episode 143. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at D Willow, DWILLOOO, to stay up to date with any upcoming episodes, anything going on with the D Will Show. Also, subscribe to the D Will Show on YouTube. Also, like, follow wherever you get your podcast at the D Will Show. I really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this episode, 27 Horizon. Connecting your business to new horizons. Contact 27 Horizon for all of your creative design needs and book them today to make your event one to remember when the DJ or photo services. DM 27 Horizon for more info. But tonight, or this evening, or this afternoon, however you want to look at it, wherever you're from, I got a legendary one. I had to go get my guy again, former, former St. Joe's player and coach, who is a 2015 state champion. He's a former Kansas Jayhawk, where he earned the honor of all Big 12 freshman honors. He's a former DePaul Blue Devil. He's a former professional overseas player who made stops in Estonia, Spain, and Mexico. He's continuous to stay around the game of basketball with his coaching abilities, making stops at Lewis University, North Park, University of Illinois Chicago, and Eastern Illinois. You guys help me welcome back my guy, my big brother, Marlon London. Marlon, what's up, my guy? How you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. Just like I said, checked out the Bears game. Hoping they pull it out, man. I
Yes, sir.
enjoying it all.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just want to say I appreciate you again for taking time to come back onto the pod. We had you on before, you know what I mean? But I was like, all right, OG, we gotta do another one now,
Let's get
resume got
after
a
it,
little
man.
bigger.
Let's get after it, man.
For sure, for sure. Coach, let me ask you this. After reading off, your resume, how does that make you feel knowing all the accomplishments that you've had and like just the journey you've been on this far?
Um, it's always good, man. We come from like humble beginnings, and just the ability to just do what we do, and my thing is to be able to give back. I feel like that's the major thing for me. There's so many guys, so many kids that want to walk this walk and live this journey, and to be able to give them just information to help them on their trek to be the best they can be. That's all I'm here for.
For
To
sure,
give guys definitely information about getting to the next levels, whatever those may be.
for sure, for sure. Coach, that's not really too familiar for the people that's not really too familiar with your upbringing. Can you give us a quick breakdown of your upbringing and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm a Lindop Tiger. Played at Lindop, Broadview, Illinois. From there, West Sider. I went to St. Joe's High School, played for legendary coach Pingator.
Yes, sir.
From there, I left there and went to the University of Kansas, played for Roy Williams for 2, played for Pat Kennedy for 1 at DePaul, and then I played for Dave Lato. And from there, I took it to the next levels, and I went to, like you said, Estonia. That was the first place I ever went, 03, 04. Got player of the year there, and I bumped that to Spain and Mexico, and I carved out like an 8-year career,
Yeah,
and I'm thankful for all of it, man. Like I
sure.
I had my bumps and bruises like anybody else, and like for me, the best thing for me is to just continue to give information back and help the next kid. That's the biggest thing for me. I want to help the next kid, like if they can avoid different obstacles or whatever the case may be, I feel like I've done my job.
For sure, for sure. Speaking about that, playing for legendary coaches and stuff like that. But Coach Ping, recipes to Coach Ping. What led to the choice of you going to St. Joe's? And I know now, you know what I mean. You can kind of almost go to any school you want to go to, pretty much, depending on where you're at. But going to a powerhouse St. Joe's, like, what led you to go there?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I didn't even think I was gonna be a basketball player. Like I was playing baseball and football. I played it all. My mother, she was like,
Okay.
"You're not gonna go to the school that your friends go to," which was Proviso East.
Yeah,
And I felt like I would have done fine there, but it was like, "You gonna go here? You're gonna learn some certain disciplines and certain things, or whatever the case may be. And I felt like that's the best decision my mother ever made for me.
Yeah.
A lot of times kids want to do what their friends do, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not always the right decision. Um, in recruiting, I always tell kids, like even in high school, I say the parents make the high school decision and the players make the college decision. Because
Mm.
most kids want to do what they guys do, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's end goal ain't the same. Everybody's upbringing isn't the same. So we got to understand like where we're trying to go in life. And I have friends at East who've done well. Perry Smith, D Brown, Shannon Brown, Steve Hunter. So
Yeah.
those guys have done well, but my mom was like, "You're not gonna go there with them. You're gonna,
Mhm.
make your own path." And that's basically what I did.
Facts. You ever look at it as in like I don't want to say regret, but of what could have been, you know what I mean? Because obviously, from a basketball standpoint, East would have, you know what I'm saying? It would have been perfect.
Yeah, like I mean, you always want to get a chance to hoop with your guys, but at the same time, I look at high school in a situation where, like me, my guy Perry and Steve, we'd have been on the same team, and you get to do less if that makes sense. And for kids now, especially high school kids, you got to be able to do more in this era of basketball with NIL and with
Yeah.
junior college and the transfer portal. You got to be a guy that can be able to carry. And like, if you got to do less, it makes you more susceptible of chilling. And that's not
Mhm.
what you can do now. You got to be the guy, one of the guys, and that
Yeah.
allows you to go to the next level.
Facts. Hands down. Hands down. At St. Joe's during your time when you was balling there, man, who was some of your favorite matchups that you had?
We lost to Fenwick in the super sectional. Chris Williams,
Okay.
who played at Loyola and Ball State, that was a hell of a matchup.
Yeah.
Dennis Gates, who's the head coach at Mizzou,
Yeah.
that was a good matchup. Trevon Davis, who played at Wisconsin, he went to Nazareth. That was a good matchup. And then some of my guys, my favorite matchup was Bobby Simmons. He played at Simeon.
Shout out on. Yeah.
One of my best friends to this day.
Yeah.
We played them at what was the Morris Shootout, and I was looking at my guys like, "Yo, who is this dude? He's 6'8". You thinking he a center, but he playing point guard. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So, just having matchups with those guys, man. Cordell Henry, who also played at Whitney Young,
Yeah.
with Q and Dennis. Those was my favorite matchups, man. Like, to get to, iron sharpens iron. And
Facts.
we wasn't ducking no smoke. It was a year where um Chicago at the time, it was two classes, A and two and double A.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like four state champions like it is now. Not that anything's wrong with that, but like you couldn't duck anybody. Like every team had two or three dudes that was nice.
Yeah.
So just the chance to have like competition, that was big for me.
Facts. Facts. Playing for the legendary Coach Payne, what was some of and you being a coach now, what were some of the things that you kind of took from him, his coaching style wise that you use today?
I'm really learning the game. Like I figured in college, going to Kansas, there was like a Paul Pierce and Rafe LaFrance was two lottery picks, right? In '98. And that was the first year of the lockout. But knowing how to play, learning how to play was a major thing. Like you're not gonna have the ball in your hands all the time. Learn how to play without the ball, you
Facts.
know, defend, you know what I'm saying? Like the game itself, the game overall honors toughness. And he was like, you're gonna have to guard stuff that you might have got away with, you're not gonna get away with there. And
Yeah.
so, learning those different, intricacies, those intangible parts of the game made it major for me to be able to get on the floor at a top 5 college year one. Because
Mm-hmm.
everybody think you're gonna go in there and score and do all this stuff, and
Nah.
it's not as glamorous as you think. You know what I'm saying? So you have to find your way, and that's what I did. So just learning from him, just defend, be a good teammate, be able to know your role, whatever that is, year one. Those things made a difference.
From a coach standpoint, how did you well looking at it now from a coach's standpoint, was it tough having to pretty much change your game? You know what I mean? Because you could be the man, and then you go to college and you got to pretty much tweak your whole game, and that can be like a confidence killer for certain kids because
Yeah,
they're used to having the ball in their hand, scoring 30, but now you may be offense defense type of guy. You may just be a, you know what I mean?
yeah, and I'm gonna be transparent. That was the hardest thing for me. Learning how to find my way without scoring the ball was a major thing for me because, like, that's what I was known for.
Mm-hmm.
At Joe's, I mean, in 50 some odd years, he only had 5 20-point scores,
Mm.
and I was one of the five. And so it was kind of like interesting, like, yo, you're not gonna get to shoot the ball 15 times a game. You might shoot it 8. And so, like, the efficiency that you play the game at, it was a major thing. Um, Learning how to guard, learning how to really get in passing lanes, learning how to, run the floor and do the intangible things is the major thing. Like, is it turns into a point where it's not all about scoring, but what about the other things you can do? You have to be like, to get to the league, you have to be great at a couple things, and like, to stay there, you have to master some stuff. Like, I know I've worked with many pros who, like, really, like, they master 2 or 3 things, and that's how they survive the NBA. And for me, I had a hard time early, especially just trying to figure that out.
Yeah. How did you end up adapting to it? Because, like you said, you earned all Big 12 freshman honors. You know what I mean? What was that moment for you where it really clicked for you and you was like, okay,
It was honestly the conference, the Big 12 conference my freshman year. The first 4 or 5 games, I scored double figures right off the bat, but a lot of my offense was predicated off of defense.
okay,
So I really got out in transition, got in passing lanes. I ran the floor and got easy points. Like, kids want to do the tough stuff and step backs and fadeaways and all of that, and you may get 3 4 5 of those a game, maybe 3 to 4 of those a game. If you predicate your game off taking tough shots, you won't be successful in this game.
facts.
You got to be able to get layups, free throws, the easy stuff first, and then you may hit 2 of those 5 step backs, and that's okay. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So for me, it was like getting the easy points and doing the easy stuff that allowed me to be out there. And we had a hell of a freshman class. My teammate was Jeff Boshi, who's the head coach at Pittsburgh State right now. He was the freshman of the year,
mm,
and Keon Dooling, who was like a LA Clipper, a good NBA player.
yeah,
Um, he was like second in voting. Like, and people don't realize Keon Dooling played 14, 15 years in the NBA.
facts.
And just learning and figuring out those different, like, intricacies in the major scheme of things made that doable for all of us.
Facts. Facts. For you, my guy, talk about the recruiting process for you as a hooper. You know what I mean? We have people nowadays where it can be super difficult because this is a life changing decision that you have to make. You know, with your career. Just take us through kind of the highs and lows of your recruiting and how did you end up at Kansas first?
My first, the funny thing is, my first offer was from NIU, Northern Illinois. And then it was my second offer was New Mexico State. A guy right now who does radio at New Mexico State, his name is Russ Bradford.
Okay.
He watched me in the summer. 2 of my teammates had gone to the uh the big time top 50 thing in Vegas. I wasn't even invited. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, Mark Treadwell and Rob Walls. Mark played at Rhode Island with Lamar Odom, and Rob Walls played at Butler. They went to Vegas to the big time tournament, and I stayed home and played with our team. And Russ is like, I just love your game. So Northern and New Mexico State was the first 2 offers. And from there, I just kept being aggressive, kept learning the game and playing hard. And from there, it grew. I started getting like Big Ten offers, Northwestern,
Mm,
um, Minnesota, like that. Honestly, Clem Haskins. If I didn't go to Kansas, I was going to Minnesota. That was going to be my school.
mm,
And I had offers all over the spectrum of college basketball, mid, high, low major. So, when I looked at it, Kansas was a school, like it was a top 5 school in the country. And I chose there. Like, being realistic though, when I talk to parents now, the dude at my position was like damn near the MVP of the McDonald's game before, and I still went. You got to understand the landscape of where you're going.
mm,
If I had to do all over again, I probably would have chose Minnesota, being totally honest,
yeah,
but I chose Kansas and I had a good experience there. Like I played, I didn't sit on the bench for 2 years, and it was good. But my recruiting I had every level of the spectrum, and I enjoyed it all.
facts. What was the leading, like, deciding factor on, okay, Kansas is where I'm going? What were some of the factors that you were looking at? Were you looking at close to home? Obviously, it's a great school for basketball. Like, how did you look at it when you're making your choice?
I felt like it was a good pick for basketball. And see, like I said, I can be honest, I was a little green to the fact that, like, you got to go where you can get to it. Like, a lot of guys go to the biggest school, but you got to
Mm-hmm.
go where you can be successful as well.
Facts.
Um, and I think I gave up a lot of myself and who I was to go play there, and that's just being totally honest. But at the same time, I had a great experience with those guys. And when you look at the recruiting now, you definitely, with the transfer portal and junior college and the way that this goes, high school kids have to know they can go to a place where they can really get on the floor as freshmen and play.
Facts.
And for me, I did play, but I didn't really think that out, to be totally honest.
Facts. Okay. Speaking, from a coach's standpoint, obviously nowadays, I feel like some kids kind of downplay JUCO ball. Obviously, everybody wants to play D1 basketball. Obviously, D2, D3, NIA, JUCO, all great basketball. Some of the best players have came from JUCO. Can you just speak on, from a coach's standpoint, how, if you're going to get to that next level, it don't matter where you go. You've been a part of in coaching, where you're recruiting. Can you just speak on, like, look, we going to find you. We're going to see you no matter where you go. If you ball and do your thing, we're going to find you. Can you just speak on that from a coach's standpoint, for kids that are kind of going back and forth about it?
Absolutely. If you're good, we'll find you. Coaches got so much information and access to so many different databases and websites and emails and things of that nature. If you play how you're supposed to play against the good competition, a coach is gonna find you. A lot of guys, they chase the big schools and different things of that nature, and that's maybe probably not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But like, you have to, once again, you got to go where you can be successful, because if you go to a school and you don't get a chance to really play how you play or do what you do, it don't matter anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're trying to figure out, if this kid can fit in our system and he's playing well here, there, or anywhere, we can find you, whether that's your high school, whether that's your JUCO, whether that's your prep school. It's one of those things where we have to look at the landscape and say, like, because most people don't take a lot of high schools anymore, like high school kids anymore. Most universities take one or two guys, and then from there, you figure out, like, okay, I'm gonna take two from JUCO, and I'll probably try to get two or three portal guys, because the way that the landscape is, you losing 3, 4 guys every year. Like, even when I at Eastern, we lost two or three guys that we didn't even think we were gonna lose, but a
Mm-hmm.
school offer you more money or a different opportunity, kids leave, and that's just the nature of the beast.
Facts. And I feel like now, you know what I mean, with this whole, like you said, NIL deals and just transfer portals, going to the big, like you said, going to the big school is not always the best thing, because you may get there, you may not play. Now you got a red shirt a year. Now you got to sit on the bench for the whole year. You just wasted the whole year. Now you gotta wait to transfer, see what schools to take you in. It's just a whole headache. Can you just talk
Absolutely.
about? I'm sure you know endless people that played JUCO ball and still had a successful career. Can you just speak
Absolutely.
on?
Some of our best players, when you look at the landscape, even at Easton, we had a kid, Nikhil Shelton, who was at South Suburban. Recently it was a kid named Amar Aguilar who played at Triton.
Yep,
All these different entities in these different schools, they're gonna present you with opportunities. And if you step up and live in the opportunity, you'll have a chance to play. Um, you can't run from JUCO ball. It's a little different than I say like low major or some of the college opportunities. But at the end of the day, coaches looking for dudes with high character, that's a dog that can get their work done and then translate it to the floor. It's not rocket science. Like do certain things and we'll be able to figure that out and help you, get to the next levels. I think a lot of people make it harder than it is. And it don't have to be that, but get your work done, be a dog on the floor and in the class and have high character and the rest of it works itself out.
for sure, for sure. Was coaching always a part, of did you ever have coaching in the back of your mind when you decided to hang up the shoes that you would be a part of coaching? Or was that something that
Mm,
kind of just presented itself?
No, I can honestly say I didn't think I had the personality to coach because you know, eras and things and times they change. For me, I was just like, I don't think the kids of this era would like me very much because just like I was gonna be on their ass so tough. It's like, yo, you can't do that and think you're gonna play. But Ping, I can honestly say Ping stayed on me about just like continue the process. It's not about everybody liking you. It's about what's the end goal? What is your angle? What do you want to accomplish in the coaching game? And if you're coaching anywhere, you want to change lives, give kids opportunities to be better than you and change their stars and get a chance to go to school. And if they want to play in the NBA or if they want to go overseas, you want to be able to give them information where they can do so. And I feel like for me, that's my life's work to help a kid overcome certain obstacles and be much better than I was, but at the same time do what they need to do to change their own lives. That's because
Yeah,
that's where we are now. We live in an age where, you know, I won't say we didn't have NIL deals because we didn't, but like, you could get. I mean, we could get to the bread if we needed to,
yeah,
but now they give it to you. So you can have a kid who says like, okay, I'm gonna go play at DePaul, for example, right? And they're gonna give you $100,000 over 4 years. That's life changing money if you do right by it. You know what I'm
facts.
saying? Like to get started. Most of us don't start off with a silver spoon. You know what I mean? And to have schools that's willing to give us money
So
to go out here and play basketball, you gotta take it. Long as it's the right situation where you can get on the floor and do the same thing.
how was the process of becoming a coach? You know what I mean? You had a career, Lewis, North Park, Eastern, U of I mean University of Illinois, Chicago, UIC. How did that whole journey come about? What was the deciding factor for you when you was like, all right, man, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Honestly, Coach Ping, so we went downstate and won in 2015.
Yep, I
And
remember that.
then 2016, we went back downstate and lost in the semis.
Mm,
Um, and coach was like, I think you're better served for the college game. He was just like, I think your personality and what you have to offer would help college kids better because you've walked that walk and then you've gone to the level after that. So you might not have played in the NBA, but you had NBA experience, NBA workouts, different things of that nature. So I feel like you can help those kids and serve those kids better because he felt like, well, I'm not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so that actually put me into the college coaching ranks because I went right to Lewis University after that. That's where I got my master's from. And I never saw myself being a college coach. It was just kind of like thrusted upon me, and I took it on. I took it like head on, and it was like one of those things where um I enjoyed it because it was new. I didn't know what it was going to entail, but I took it head on, and I enjoyed the process at this point.
For sure. What has been some of the pros and cons of being the coach? Because I don't think people really realize the type of time and effort and work you have to put in as being the coach, preparing, recruiting, dealing with different personalities, travel, time away from the family. What have just been the pros and cons for you personally?
The pros are always being able to change kids' lives, allowing them opportunities to do what they do on the basketball court and in the classroom, and then go to the next levels. Graduate and whether you play in Europe or get a good job or whatever the case may be. Those are always the pros. The cons are, I got a 4-year-old son, so being away from him and not being able to see some of the different things he does as he's growing up, that's been hard, because being in Charleston when I was at Eastern, I'm 3.5, 3 hours away. So I can't just bot back in and see him like I want to. So with the
Yeah,
travel and just everything and the prep that goes into being a college coach, that part is tough. But I mean, I can honestly say I wouldn't trade it for a lot of stuff because I do love what I do.
for
And
sure.
you know, it's just one of those things as you figure that as you move up the totem pole, it only gets better.
For sure. For sure. For you, OG, what do you feel is some of the most important skills that you have to have as being a coach? Not everybody can be a coach. You know what I mean? It's easy to get out there and do the X and O's, but it's the other things behind the scenes that people have to certain skills you have to be able to be a successful, well-known coach that's respected.
I think it starts with like your attitude and your personality. Like you have to honestly, like, as a coach, you have to put yourself in a situation where everything you do is about the next person. Like if your head coach, whatever your head coach's vision is, that's what your vision has to be. Like you can't go against what his values and his things are, because at that point your kids won't believe you.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like whatever the coach's message is, that's a major key. Just putting yourself out there and in regards to somebody else. It's not about you. It's about you helping kids develop under somebody else's thought process.
for
And a
sure.
lot of times I think people want to make things about them. The same selfless attitude you took as a player, you have to do the same thing as
As
a
a,
coach,
for sure.
because ultimately it's not your program, but it's what you do and how you fit yourself in what that coach thinks about and what that coach is.
For sure. Hands down, hands down. For you, I feel like this is a big question for certain kids. Obviously you having a resume that you had. I also read that you did some scouting, going to look for talent. Like I said, it's a big question because I feel like certain kids need to listen to what you're about to say. When you're going out and you're looking for certain players, let's say you may have heard about a player, that's had a great summer, and you go out and you watch him and you're watching his game. What are some of the main things that you're looking for in the player? Because he may have all the talent in the world, but there may be certain things that may give you the ick about the certain player. Like, oh well, that's it for him. He just killed it doing that. What are you looking for, and what are you paying attention to when you're watching certain players when you're recruiting?
And the interesting thing, shout out to my boy Rich McBride at Eastern Illinois. He was a U of I legend. I'm gonna call this segment "Turn the Page," right?
Okay.
And what I mean by that is you look for a kid with toughness, a kid with IQ, a kid with the right mindset about school, and a kid that can play, right?
Mm,
And if you can find all those things in a kid, you've kind of won in the basketball world. You're looking for a kid, like if he's not having his best game, he's still cheering on teammates, he's still making the right plays. IQ wise, you want a kid that can make the proper plays when they playing basketball. hit the open man, take the proper shots, you know, do what's best for the team. Um, then you want a kid who's tough. Like when it's not going your way, you got the mental toughness that you can deal with adversity and continue to do and be who you are, no matter if the ball is going in or not. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, after all of that's being said and done, can you go in the classroom and perform? You know what I'm saying? Because like what I don't want to worry about is the dude not doing what he's supposed to do when I go home every day.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, did he not show up to class? Did he not show up to practice? Did he, does he get bad grades? Is he fighting coaching? All of that stuff matters. And the reality of it is, if you're not doing those things, like my guy Rich would say, you got to turn the page. You got to get them dudes out of there. And like that's just me being real.
That's
Like if
facts,
you're not
though. That's
up on
facts.
your stuff, we turn the page because guess what? It's so many kids who want to do that may not have the opportunity. But if you want to clown and act a fool while we trying to help you get through I'm turning the page. We gonna get you right on up out of there, and we gonna
Facts.
get to the next thing. And
Facts.
that's just real. Like
Facts.
a lot of these dudes is entitled, and they feel like, oh, the coach should give me. Hey man, it's not that. It's a million dudes out here that'll do your job to the best of their abilities. And if you don't want to do it, guess what? That page getting turned.
Yo, quick.
And
In the whole,
that's the reality of it.
that's facts. That's facts. What are some of the biggest turnoffs? Let's talk about that because I feel like certain kids don't really realize that you guys don't also watch for the good things, but you also watch for the bad things. What are those certain things that you just like? All right, whether they've been
I
on the
mean,
court, off the court,
kids that aren't good teammates, kids that cry and bitch and moan all the time. Like we're not trying to deal with that. Dudes that can take constructive criticism and move on. Um, we don't care what you averaged in high school. You're in college now.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Get in the weight room, get in the classroom, do all the necessary stuff to help you here. Nobody cares what you've done before. Like, oh, I averaged 35 in high school. That's cool. But you're in college. Now you might have to average 15.
mm-hmm.
So entitlement is not one of those things that college coaches want to deal with. We want to deal with guys who want to consistently be in the gym, want to push the narrative. I want to get better, coach. I want extra workouts. I'm knocking out my class work, all of that stuff. I want to get in the gym. I want to be better on campus. We want those guys. And if you're not willing to do that, a lot of time we ain't, we're not dealing with it. Like even at the low major level, like we ain't got time.
Yeah,
So be about what you say you are. You know what I'm saying? Like just like anything else, you are who you say you are, and you are who you show you are. So on a
facts,
daily basis, if you don't want to get to this work, go ahead, man. I'm gonna turn the page and I'm gonna find a dude who does.
facts.
And that's it. That's all, man. I ain't dealing with no crybabies and dudes like that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
sit you on the bench and I'm gonna send you home.
facts for sure. Talk about how important it is about the type of environment you keep around you, social media. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like some parents are, you know what I mean. You got certain kids where they'll do something on the court, but they look to their parent and it kind of throws them off. Just talk about how those little bitty things can potentially kill a scholarship for you. You know what I mean? Because yeah, you may
Yeah,
have
man. Like
social media,
your
but you
coach
got
is your coach is your coach, bro. Like
yeah,
and like if you steady looking in the crowd looking for your mom, dad, uncle, your trainer, that's not good.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, they not coming to school with you, especially at our level. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to rely on you. Whatever your values, morals, your toughness, all of those different things. The game in college is about habits. You know what I'm saying? If we practice at 7 a.m., you better get used to waking up at 5:30 so you can be there and make sure you're not dealing with being late. Because guess what? We don't want that either. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's about what does your moral compass say? Who are you? And if I mean, you can lie into it to a certain degree, until we get you there and we see you regularly, and we'll know quick, fast, in a hurry. Like,
But
oh, he not that. Like, he sold us a bill of goods, but it's cool. We're gonna sit him right down and we're gonna send him right off. And that's the nature of the beast, man. I can't lie, bro. Like, we're not gonna play with you because guess what? We got families and jobs to secure,
yep,
and we can't deal with dudes who don't want to do their part. Like I said, shout out to Rich. We turning the page. We getting you right up out of there. Like, you can sit
yeah,
and you can be mad at us for a whole year, but guess what? That following year, you're gonna be finding somewhere to go.
yeah. But
Flat
somebody else's
out.
problem. No, that's somebody else's problem. That's somebody else.
Absolutely.
Let me see what else I got for you. For you, you know what I mean. Like, again, I want to speak on your resume, the coaches you played for, the time you've been coaching, been around the game. How do you maintain being professional and being relaxed and calm and cool in high intense games? You know what I mean? Because I feel like you guys are such on a hot seat when they like, okay, coach, what we about to do? And you got to keep yourself calm and composed and keep your players like that also. How do you maintain being resilient and being calm and collected in high intensity games?
I think that's more of my personality. I've always been a guy who, like, I never got like too excited or too low.
Yeah.
Um, our staff, Rich and Colin and with Coach Simmons, like like my guy Rich was like the dude, like, man, y'all ain't going at it. Like, he was like that guy, right? And then Colin was more chill. So like I tried to be in like the middle of that. It was like good cop, bad cop, and I was more
Yeah.
like
Right in
the
the middle.
middleman. So like finding your niche in the whole scheme of things, because like I ain't gonna lie, Rich was gonna be on your ass. Like, hey man, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. We gonna sit you down. It was that. And then Colin was more like, look, we want you to be this guy, and you're not doing that right now.
Hmm.
And for you to play for us, you got to do this, this, and this. And I was like a healthy medium. Um, I wasn't like overly excited, and I wasn't like super chill, but I made sure the guys like was doing what they was doing. Like, we had a bunch of Chicago kids last year who helped us kind of like really like turn the tide there and do a lot better. So for me, it was like really like looking at my situation and my relationship with those kids. I could really dig into them without them crying about it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because one thing once again, I'm going back to what you asked me. Like, you got to have a level of toughness to play this game. So you can't take it personal if I dig at you and I get after you. It's not about how I said it, but what was the message? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to take the message from it and apply it to whatever said situation is. Don't If I'm yelling, I might be yelling because I'm excited, or I'm really, I'm passionate about what I do,
Facts.
but I'm not trying to,
Tear you
demean
down.
you or make you talk down to you. I'm
Yeah.
trying to give you information so you can apply it and get us to the next levels. And
Facts.
that was the major key for me.
Facts. And that was kind of my next question is, do you have to adjust how you coach certain players? Like, do you have to learn, okay, this guy, he may have been through hell and high water to get to where he at. I can talk to him aggressively. I can yell at him. I can, you know what I mean, threaten him and put him on the bench. And then you got players where you kind of be like, okay, well, this is what we need you to do. Did you have to have a switch as a coach, or did you just
Yeah,
like
like, it's not even
put
really
the
a
50
switch, but
weapon?
like, you got to look at a situation like some kids may have grown up with a dad that got on them, and some
Hmm.
might not have. Like, you go at a kid that ain't had a daddy, ain't never been yelled at by a man, he might be defensive.
Hmm.
And you figure out, like, yo, look, I got to talk to him a little different to get the message across. A kid with a dad who was stern on him, that coached him hard, he might look you in the eye and be like, okay, coach, my bad, I got you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So once again, it's about getting in tune with what kids you have, learning how they move, learning what triggers them and what doesn't. And I feel like all of that's all encompassing about being a good coach. You can't just come out here and curse everybody out because
Yeah.
everybody's not used to that. And
Mhm.
it's not one basketball and coaching ain't one size fit all. You got to figure out what makes your kids go and then dig into that point or that part, and it helps you relate to those kids better, meet them where they are.
For sure. And you don't ever feel like that could be tough. Like, do you ever look at it as in like, okay, we at the D1 level. I'm not gonna sit here and hold your hand like we in Park District basketball. I'm trying to get you to that next level. Or is it just that's just how I coach? I feel like
No,
some players
and that's
can't
the
follow.
thing. No
Yeah,
matter what, if you can, you want to get through to all of your kids if you can. So I'm not going to treat one different than the next, but I'm going to figure out what makes said kid go and what makes the other one not, and we're going to dig at that. Like, we
yeah,
need them all, or we wouldn't have recruited them. Now, some get over it and get through it, and some don't, but it won't be for lack of effort on our part.
for sure. You're gonna always push them to be the best. For sure.
Indeed.
For sure. I also read about, shout out to my guys Jordan and Glenn. You know what I mean? You coach some guys, they went on to play D1 ball. I know Jordan is one of the coaches for the Bulls. Glenn is playing professional ball. Then you got Nick, they all play D1 ball, and further in their career playing professionally. Is that some of the biggest joys you get from being a coach is seeing guys go further on and become great men in life? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no,
what is the biggest
absolutely.
joy?
That's everything to me, bro. Like, I feel like those are three sons of mine.
Yeah.
Their parents entrusted us with them to get them proper information for them to be successful individuals,
Yeah.
whether they play basketball after school or not.
Yeah.
Basketball was what they do or what they did as opposed to who they are. And Jordan, going to Northwestern, getting a degree, and then the Wright State and getting a master's, like,
Yeah.
it's about being a good person. Because at some point, that basketball stuff, some of it dissipates, and it's like, well, what kind of dude was he? Yeah, we remember the basketball player. He was a good player,
Yeah.
but how did said person make you feel when you was around them? What did they teach you? And I tried to give them experiences that I had that they take, and I talk to all three of them regularly. Like, those are my guys. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
For
so,
sure.
whenever it happens, I feel like I'll be invited to weddings and all of those different things. So, imparting yourself and your life into guys, whether they went to play or not, is
Yeah.
the major key, because it's about life, not basketball.
For sure.
Basketball teaches you lessons about life, but at the same time, what you learn from the game will give you certain values and different things that you can use as you apply it to your regular everyday life.
For sure. Marlon, let me ask you this. Has there ever been, obviously you don't have to go into specific details. Has there ever been a certain player that you just gravitated to? Maybe he may have had a similar, upbringing like you did. Maybe he, you saw your game and his game. Has there ever been that moment where you was like, man, I really want to help this kid. I really want to get this kid to where he wants to be?
Honestly, I try to find a little bit of myself in all of them, but
Okay.
like for a particular kid, like for example, a Glenn, right? Glenn come from a household where his folks are there. You don't deal with the regular, like, you hear about the D-Wades and the people of the world, or who came from super humble beginnings, where I'm talking like from the slums, who listen to Pat Beverly, and it's like, man, like, life for them was tough,
Facts.
and like, you don't live that life, so you're not talking about, like, you're eating every day. You ain't talking about my lights not being turned off, or rats, roaches, any of that type of stuff. But at the same time, the two things, and I listened to a thing that Gilbert Arenas talked about, is love or fear,
Mm,
right? Like, some guys have the fear of, like, I'm not going to live up to my expectations, and I really got to go after it. I can't fail at this because I don't have nothing else. Or you look at a guy like a Corey Maggette, for example, right? Two-parent household, good upbringing, and he was just like, I love to hoop, and I'm going to compete at the highest level, and I know that I can make it. You know what I'm
hmm.
saying? So, like, for me, it's finding out, once again, where that lies with every kid that I deal with. Because you're not gonna have kids as talented as McGetty. He was top 5 in the country.
Yeah.
But you'll have some dudes that's, Glenn was top 100, but like you'll have dudes closer to that than top 5 in the country.
Okay.
There was kind of like a preconceived notion that Corey was gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? But he loved to play, he loved to compete, and he was willing to put whatever on the line to do so. And sometimes you don't find kids that's just going to do that. So you find whatever it is that makes said kid go, and you lean into that to make them the best that they can be.
For sure. For sure. Man, Marlon, man, I appreciate you, OG, for taking time out to come onto the show, telling your story. It's always been love since the beginning, since we first chopped it up when you came on the first time. So I just want to say I appreciate you, OG, man. It definitely means a lot, man, for sure.
All day, my boy, man. Anytime, man. And like I said, I'm out here trying to help kids. So if people hit you up and let you know they looking for something, they trying to do something, I'ma always be an ally for you, my guy.
Man, I appreciate it, Coach. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna talk to you, man. I appreciate you again. All love.
No doubt, all love, man.
For sure.
Chicago, stand up.
You know that for sure.
Yes, sir.